Hey all, Jase Abbey here with the IDP show. As your guest host today, I'm here to answer the question, what are your 2025 rookie picks worth? So if you want to get a leg up in your Dynasty League by trading your current picks for players who can help lead your team to success, spend the next 15 minutes here with me as I explain which players you should be investing in, why you should be buying them, and what value you should be giving up in a trade. So some very quick explainers here before we jump straight in. We're basing this on a 12-team league, DT Premium, Big 3 scoring, and crucially, as I said in the intro, we're talking Dynasty here today. All right, the first name I want to kick us off with here is someone you're going to have to pay up big to acquire. It's our reigning Defensive Rookie of the Year winner, Mr. Jared Verse, the IDP show's Dynasty Edge 4. I don't think I have to go into too much detail about why he's here. Everyone knows he was great last year. I mean, 6 sacks isn't an amazing number to finish with for those box score watchers at least, but the talent, the opportunity, and the underlying metrics make him, for all the love he has got, still a little bit undervalued in some circles. I mean, as a rookie, he had 77 pressures, which ranked 4th amongst all edges. His 15.9% pressure rate was in the 97th percentile. And I think if we compare him to a couple of the 8 guys who had a better rate last year, such as Trey Hendrickson or Chop Robinson, Verse will always deliver better tackle numbers. So what should you be giving up for Verse? As a point of reference throughout the show, we'll be using the IDP trade calc on the idpshow.com, which, by the way, you should check out, of course. Now there, Verse is worth a mid-round first pick, somewhere between the value of the 106 and the 107. I think if we consider who you can get at that point in those rookie drafts, we're looking at people like Tyler Warren, 6th overall, Matthew Golden, 7th overall. Golden, I'm not overly fussed about, to be honest with you, not as much as other people are at least. But Warren, I am a big fan of, and given the scarcity of potentially top tight ends, I draw the line behind Warren and say that I'd be quite happy giving up a 107 for Verse in those combined leagues. Next up is Packers linebacker Edgerrin Cooper. He's our Dynasty LB3, ranked 13th overall. And really, I think everybody is pretty high on him right now. It took an injury to Walker for Cooper to earn that full-time job, but it would be surprising if Cooper ever lost that job going into 2025, especially after playing so well in coverage, which is really rare for rookie linebackers. Fewer missed tackles would be nice to see, but his 14.1% tackle rate was really healthy, finishing in the 72nd percentile. Obviously, the Packers have now declined Walker's 5th-year option, which is not uncommon for linebackers considering they get bunched together with higher paid edges when calculating the option. But if we're honest, Walker hasn't been all that. He's never played as well over the course of a season as Cooper has in his 3 years in the league. So really, I think when we talk about how high we are on Cooper, it's a combination really of how good he was, I guess, and how bad Walker has been. So our trade calc has Cooper's value as the 201, and our dynasty rankings indicate that you'll be choosing between guys like Cam Ward or Jaden Higgins at that spot. I wouldn't choose Cooper over Higgins, others might, but I would take him over Ward if you're not in a Superflex league. As I look a few spots down our rankings, for me the value for Cooper looks about right in that 204 range, right around sort of players like Trey Harris. Let's talk Chop Robinson now. He was on a tear over the second half of the season with 6 sacks in his last 10 games, ending the year with a 16.3% pressure rate, which was 5th among all edges in that 98th percentile. But his tackle production was pretty dire with only 26 on the season, and those factors make him tough to evaluate as his value will differ greatly depending on the scoring format of your league. If sacks are rewarded higher than average and tackle volume is maybe less of a priority, he's a star, right? But I think in those leagues where tackles are weighted more heavily, he's not quite as appealing. So those points do make his trade value wide-ranging. In sack-heavy formats, I think you're looking at kind of like an early to mid-second, whereas in tackle-heavy leagues, you're looking at more of an early third. On to my next guy then, Payton Wilson, the IDP show's LB14, and I think most people think that he's probably going to be taken over from Patrick Queen next year, or this year rather. That's not an unreasonable assumption given how much better Wilson played than Queen most of last season, both in coverage and even in run defense, where, you know, despite having some work to do, Wilson as a rookie was still head and shoulders above Queen. Even in tackle rate, the difference was huge. Queen's 11.5% tackle rate ranked in the 35th percentile, while Wilson's 14.1% rate ranked in the 75th percentile. I'd feel a lot happier about going all in on Wilson if there was any sign toward the end of the year that Wilson was eating into Queen's snap share, but maybe that's the angle you use as leverage in trade talks with IDP managers who aren't as clued up as you. Which kind of brings us to the question, what should we offer in trade talks? Our trade calc suggests his value is somewhere around the end of the second, early third, which is kind of like in the range of Mason Taylor, Jalen Walker, Nick Emenwari, and that's kind of roughly where I have him as well. Early third, I think you can walk away quite happy. On to DeMarvion Overshown. He was a real difference maker until the ACL, PCL, and MCL tear in December. Missed too many tackles, 18.4% of his attempts. There were some inconsistencies in coverage, and his tackle rate, 11.9% in the 36th percentile, wasn't great. But he was a big play machine, right? 5 sacks, a forced fumble, an interception, 3 pass breakups, and it was really encouraging to see him play in an every down role as well. Obviously, we're right to be concerned about his ability to come back from the injury. It was a major injury, but he's progressing well. He was spotted at practice, working with the rehab group recently, and there's talk of him coming back mid-season. He even thinks that he's going to be in with a shout of comeback player of the year. Maybe he will. Yeah, they added Kenneth Murray and Jack Sanborn to help carry them through 2025, but neither guy has much long-term value, and even if we're cautious about this and say that Overshown misses most of the year, I think he's worth the risk in Dynasty, especially at the value where we have him in our trade calc, in that mid-4th range, where I think otherwise you'd be looking at guys like Jade Barron, Elik Eumenor. I think I'd much prefer Overshown to both of those players. Moving on, Marcus Davenport is someone who could be being overlooked, and yes, I know he's been frustrating as hell. He flashed talent at times when healthy. 9 sacks in 11 games going back a couple of years when he was with the Saints, but obviously injuries have really held him back. I wouldn't blame IDP managers if they had already given up on him, but apparently he is on schedule with his recovery from the triceps injury. Dan Campbell is talking him up, and the Lions really didn't bring in any competition at the edge spot in the draft or free agency so far. We can't rule out the possibility that they might make a move for a vet at some point, but as things stand, Davenport is going to be playing alongside Hutchinson, and that's a pretty sweet gig, I think. So I've seen some trades involving Davenport where managers have given up a late 5th rounder. I'd be more than happy to get him for that, because at that point in rookie drafts, you're really getting into dart throw territory. I'm going to give the safeties a bit of love next, talking about the Rams' Kam Kinchens. He took time to settle, but his role grew steadily last year and well into the playoffs too, which is a good sign that he earned their faith. And overall, he played pretty well down the stretch. PFF actually graded him as the Rams' best safety overall. He finished the year with 4 interceptions, and he's no stranger to interceptions, of course. Finished with 11 in his last 2 years at college. Now, he did play deep a lot, which might put off some IDP managers who play in tackle-heavy scoring formats, but I'd be quite happy to send something like a 6th for him, a mid-round 6th. Our Dynasty ranking suggests that by that point, 5 safeties will probably be gone in rookie drafts, including Kevin Winston and Andrew McCuber. Okay, I've got a couple of dart throws to finish up with that managers in deep Dynasty leagues could target with those late round picks in 9 to 12. Eagles DT Moro Ojomo is the first. He was a 7th round pick in 2023, barely played in his rookie year, and was kind of mired in a rotation behind Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, and Jordan Davis to start last year, but he played ahead of Davis in the last 6 games. Now, yes, Ojomo had 0 sacks last year, I'm well aware, but he was really unlucky in that sense because he was so close on so many occasions. Finished with 31 pressures and PFF's 5th highest pass rush grade among all DTs. If you've got any box score watchers in your league, and we've all got those guys, right, you might be able to get Ojomo off them for something like a 9th. And I think even with the addition of rookie Ty Robinson in the 4th round, opportunities will be there for Ojomo to make a little bit of noise this year, especially now that Milton Williams has moved on. And my last guy is Leonard Taylor of the Jets. He's someone I'm kind of low-key interested in. He went undrafted last year, which surprised me a little bit as he showed potential at Miami. Didn't get much of a look in with the Jets at first. Finished 4th amongst the DT rotation behind Quinnen Williams, Javon Kinlaw, and even spent fewer snaps on the interior than Solomon Thomas. But Kinlaw and Thomas aren't there any longer. They did add a couple of vets in Nadi and Tufele, and neither of those guys has ever done very much. I think there might be a few more opportunities for Taylor this year. Whether he can take advantage of those and gain a bigger snap share as the season goes on, I'm not entirely sure, but I think in DT premium leagues with really deep rosters, where you can afford to stash Taylor, and in rookie drafts that run into those double-digit rounds or more, I'm kind of interested in taking a flyer on him with like an 11th or a 12th round pick, maybe even better than that. Alright, that's me done. I hope this has been useful to you guys and girls, and good luck if you're out there trying to get those trades done ahead of or during your fantasy drafts. Don't forget to check out the draft kit on the idpshow.com, where for our paid supporters, we've got industry-leading IDP draft resources, including projections, rankings, write-ups, ADP, and more. If you want to hear more from me, you can find me on X at Jase Abbey. Bye for now, and happy trading.